On September 28, 2025, in the heart of the mountains of southwest China, a titan of steel silently announced its arrival. Its height surpasses the Shanghai Tower. It's taller than 2 Eiffel Towers stacked on top of each other. It doesn't point to the sky, but it gets closer to its vastness than any skyscraper on the European continent. This is the Huijiang Grand Canyon Bridge, the new world record holder for the highest bridge deck on the planet, soaring 625 meters from the canyon floor. But this isn't just a story about a cold, hard number. This is a story about answers. It answers the question, why are we obsessed with challenging such insane engineering limits? And it answers how a province, once sentenced to a life sentence of isolation by its own mountains, used steel and wisdom to suture the Earth's deepest scar into an epic road to the future. To truly understand this bridge, you first have to fly over its birthplace, Guizhou. On a satellite map, this part of southwest China looks like the creator's crumpled-up draft. It was kneaded and squeezed into a magnificent sea of stone. This is no paradise for lovers of plains. It is a kingdom of mountains. Over 1.25 million peaks cover 92.5% of the province. What does that mean? It means the old saying, not even 3 feet of flat land, isn't an exaggeration. It's a harsh reality carved into this land's very DNA. It means a straight line on a map is a complete and utter lie here. 2 villages might be just a kilometer apart as the crow flies, but for generations, traveling between them meant a grueling half-day journey. It means poverty born from distance. The finest cured hams, the sweetest fresh fruits, were locked away in the deep mountains, left to rot, all because of impossibly high transportation costs. And our main character, the Huijiang Grand Canyon, is the deepest, most treacherous and most brutal scar in this entire landscape. It's a chasm, like one carved by a giant axe, tearing through the earth for 80 kilometers. In the past, the only way for your car to get from one side of the canyon to the other was to crawl along a winding mountain road, a gut-wrenching, 2-hour struggle between fear and vertigo. Now, a major economic artery called the Lian Expressway had to get through. Engineers faced a monumental choice. Should they bow to the mountains, building a lower bridge that would require digging more tunnels and longer approach roads? Or should they declare war on the sky and, in an unprecedented feat, take a single leap from one clifftop to the other? Think about this. The Millau Viaduct in France, a modern icon, has a pier that reaches a staggering 343 meters. But here, even the mighty Millau would just helplessly dangle into the canyon, unable to even touch the opposite cliff face. And the Golden Gate Bridge, America's suspension bridge idol with its majestic 1280-meter span. Its clearance height is barely a tenth of the Huijiang Grand Canyon Bridge. From the very beginning, the answer was written in the sky above Guizhou. The only way was up, and up again. To build a colossal suspension bridge with a main span of 1,420 meters at an altitude of 625 meters. This was no longer just an engineering plan. This was a declaration. We no longer go around the mountains. We drive through the clouds. So, how do you forge a steel dragon from scratch, over 600 meters above the surface of the Earth? Look at these 2 bridge towers, standing like the arms of a god, one 262 meters tall, the other 254. They had to be wedged into the mountaintops like giant nails. To do that, engineers drilled 24 massive foundation piles, each 168 meters deep into the rock, just to give the towers a base as solid as the mountain itself. Then a piece of black magic tech entered the scene, the all-in-one intelligent tower building machine. It was like a giant, self-growing mold. It broke the tower construction into over 40 sections, printing its way upwards with incredible precision at a rate of nearly 1 meter per day. This was a Chinese-style sprint, a race against the sky. If the towers are the sky-holding arms, the anchorages are the iron fists gripping the reins. On one side of the canyon, where the land was open, engineers poured a concrete monster weighing 400,000 tons, a literal man-made mountain. Its own terrifying weight is enough to hold the lifeline of half the bridge. But on the other side, there was only a sheer cliff with no space. What could they do? The answer shines with Eastern wisdom. Use the mountain as the anchor. Instead of fighting the terrain, the engineers chose to merge with it. They dug 2 deep tunnels straight into the mountain's core, embedding the main cable's anchor structure inside like a wedge. At that moment, it was no longer the bridge choosing the mountain. The entire colossal mountain willingly became a part of the bridge. This wasn't just clever, it was a show of reverence for nature. And now, for the most poetic and terrifying moment of the entire project. How do you get that very first guide rope across a 1,400-meter wide canyon of death? There was no roar of a rocket, no massive airship, just a tiny drone. Like a brave little messenger, it pulled a thin white rope and with an effortless grace buzzed its way to the other side. This seemingly insignificant pilot rope was the first step in a monumental journey. It would be used to pull a thicker rope, which pulled an even thicker one, and so on. Until finally, 2 temporary walkways for the workers, the catwalks, were strung between the towers. I want you to imagine this again. You're 625 meters in the air, walking on a path just over a meter wide, swaying in the wind, with a bottomless abyss below and the infinite sky above. Every single step was a defiance of death. The sheer courage of these builders is an invisible monument in itself. With the catwalks in place, the true lifelines could be laid. 217 cable strands, each made of 91 high-strength steel wires, were pulled across one by one. And here, an eye in the sky, China's Beidou satellite system, provided positioning for the first benchmark strand with an astonishing accuracy of just 2 millimeters. Because everyone knew on a super project like this, a tiny error could lead to a catastrophic failure. Only when all the strands were finally compressed by a special machine into a silver dragon, nearly a meter in diameter, did the heart of this bridge truly begin to beat. Finally, the bridge deck. Over 50,000 tons of steel beams were divided into 93 sections. Each one weighed over 200 tons. Hoisting and connecting these massive pieces with pinpoint accuracy in crosswinds that could reach 100 kilometers per hour was like trying to thread a needle in a hurricane. To do it, engineers used LiDAR technology to monitor and predict wind speed and direction in real time, snatching precious windows of opportunity from the chaotic air currents. The moment the final steel beam slotted perfectly into the center, and the bridge was successfully joined, the scar that had torn this land apart for millions of years was finally, perfectly, stitched together. When the Huijiang Grand Canyon Bridge officially opens, the once 2-hour chasm will be reduced to a journey of less than 2 minutes. But that's just the beginning of the story. You think it's just a road? No, its ambition is so much greater. From the very start, it was designed with a grander mission, to be a world-class tourist destination. On one side of the bridge, a service area named Cloud Ferry has been built. The name itself is pure poetry, a ferry crossing above the clouds. Here, visitors can park, walk out onto a cantilevered viewing platform, and experience for themselves the surreal magic of a bridge soaring north to south, turning a chasm into a thoroughfare. In the future, bungee jumping, canyon swings, and paragliding will all be launched from here. Look across all of Guizhou and you'll find over 30,000 bridges just like this one. They are like giant suture needles, weaving this broken, rugged land tightly together. And get this, of the 100 highest bridges in the world, nearly half of them, almost 50, are all concentrated right here in Guizhou province. The density is simply astounding. These bridges don't just connect a network of expressways. They have created something unique, an expressway plain. They have given Guizhou, a province once defined by its lack of flat land, the most efficient and level transportation network in southwest China, built in the clouds. Resources that were once trapped by the mountains now flow freely. And because of this, Guizhou has transformed itself from one of China's poorest provinces into a premier destination for global data centers, attracting giants like Apple and Huawei. This bridge is more than just cold concrete and steel. It is a monument to the unyielding will and the sky-high imagination of humankind when faced with the impossible.